Was the Apostle Paul a Scientologist? I know it sounds crazy, but is it true? I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. Welcome to the Jeff Daugherty program, where we give you new cosmic knowledge and where you hear the gospel truth, the whole gospel truth, and nothing but the gospel truth. And ladies and gentlemen, the gospel truth is not always what you think it is. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, wearing the ultimate tin-foil hat from Rex Bear League Project, my great friend. Make sure you go over there and subscribe. Heidi Vandenberg, Channel 27, Sandra D'Angelo, R. Wayne Steiger, Trisha Gelder, Dan from Overwatch Channel. I'm forgetting so many. Jenny Moonstone, Jennifer Collins. I know I forget so many when I do this, but at any rate, I'm making an effort. And was the Apostle Paul a Scientologist? Now, we've always been told that I just got out of the pool, swimming, pool hair, don't care. We've always been told that it was L. Ron Hubbard that started Scientology. Is it true, or was it the Apostle Paul that started Scientology? I know it sounds completely ridiculous. I know that you're wondering, Jeff, how could that possibly be? Well, it could possibly be. And speaking of things that can possibly be, if you're going to possibly be in the Tampa, Florida area tomorrow, namely Pinellas County, as those of us that grew up here say, but Pinellas County, to the rest of you, we're going to be at the Wagon Wheel Flea Market, we being Halo Marquise and myself. And the Wagon Wheel Flea Market will be there all day. It's located, it's big. Look at that thing. It's big, ladies and gentlemen. It's located on Pinellas Park. It's located in Pinellas Park on Park Boulevard, 7801 Park Boulevard North in Pinellas Park. We will be inside in space C-188, Charlie 188. Halo and I will be there on Saturday. Halo and I will be there on Sunday. It's Park Boulevard. This way's Tampa. This way's the beach. So you know where you are. Opens up Saturdays at 8. We'll be there by 8:30. We'll be there Sunday as well. If you can't find it here, it probably does not exist. Do Scientologists wear lab coats to church? That's funny. What are we going to be doing there? Well, we're going to be having a MYSTECH magical extravaganza. We're going to be offering the MYSTECH bracelets. We're going to be doing the testing for everyone. We're going to be there having a great time. Just two guys trying to save the world. And if you can't make it to Pinellas Park tomorrow and you still think that MYSTECH might be for you, and I guarantee you it is, it really will change your life. It's changed mine. Just go here, click on this green to look at the products, come back here, and if you click this button right here, this yellow button right here is a magic button, because when you click it, you get 20% off. Only if you see donate to Jeff Daugherty, MYSTECH Bands by Jeff Daugherty, only then do you see 20%. That's the way the magic has to work. You save 20%. You break a little piece off for your Christian Whistleblower, and we continue to keep the paranormal trip rolling wall to wall and tree top tall. We continue to keep everything going, and we continue to keep everything growing. The paranormal trip, you can see the places that we've been. I need to move Vero Beach and Fort Drum Crystal Mine up to the already been places. Key West, Brushy Mountain State Prison, St. Augustine. I'm debating, and I'd like to hear your input on this. On Thursday, I'll be in Orlando, Florida. And I was going to go to the site of the Pulse nightclub. It's not there anymore. I was going to go to the site of the Pulse nightclub, and I was going to do a ghost walk there and see if there's any spirits there that need help. But the problem is, you know what happened to Heidi? I think YouTube's taking a very dim view of anyone that's doing anything about this, that has to do with shootings. So I don't know if I'm going to do it, but I'd like to hear your input. Maybe a cooler head should prevail, and that's one we shouldn't do. I guess I could always go there and do it and not televise it as what? Telecast? Not put it on YouTube. I could do that as well. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to talk now about, was Paul what did Paul start Scientology? T.L. Clark asked me if I'm off my rocker. Well, that depends upon who you ask. So, you ready, ladies and gentlemen? Why do I think Paul started Scientology? Well, this is part of our Through the Diamond New Testament. And believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, I'm starting to agree with you, TL. Believe it or not, you're looking at the only person ever to produce an edition of the New Testament in the correct chronological order in which the books were written. Doesn't that blow your mind? It's been 2,000 years, and it takes some silly, crazy ex-Pentecostal evangelist to put the New Testament in the correct chronological order and bring the profound changes in understanding that makes to the world. And I call it the Diamond New Testament. And we're going through the Diamond New Testament, and we're up to 2 Thessalonians. And I go through and I start and we look, and Tanhawk says, what did Paul, Muhammad, and Joseph Smith have in common? Please tell us, Tanhawk. So let's look at 2 Thessalonians chapter 3, and you will see the very clear and rational reasons that I ask if the Apostle Paul started Scientology way before L. Ron Hubbard was ever even born, before L. Ron Hubbard was a twinkle in Zemu's eye. And to be fair, I talked to Mr. Hubbard the other night, and he told us that he made a mistake about Zemu. So here we are, we're in 2 Thessalonians chapter 3. And Paul's saying, now I command you, brethren. I don't know about you, but anytime somebody starts commanding me, my hackles go up. We call them hackles down here in the South. If you want to see me lose my sanctification, if you want to see me if you want to see the ugly side of me, command me to do something. And the command in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, and we're going to talk about this. We've talked about the difference between between Jesus and the Christ, but this Lord Jesus Christ is an attempt to take the good feelings of the Christ, which was the true Elohim manifested in the flesh, tie it to the fake Jesus who didn't exist, and allow the Lord, the rat bastard, Yahweh, Jehovah, Marduk, to benefit from it. Paul's the one that started linking this up, Lord Jesus Christ. It's a psychological operation to get you to transfer the good feelings for the real Christ to the fake Jesus so the Lord can leverage them to rule over you. But anyway, that's not what I'm here for tonight. Withdraw yourselves from every brother that walks disorderly, not after the tradition which he received of us. Withdraw yourselves from every brother that walks disorderly. Shun the brothers. Shun the brothers, he said. Shun them. And he said, don't even eat with these people. If any man doesn't obey our words, note that man, have no company with him, that he might be ashamed. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the practice that everybody hates Scientology for. All right, Amanda, you can either act right or you can be gone. Stop being stupid. Do you see what I just showed you? Everybody jumps on the Scientologists because they shun people. Because if someone doesn't follow their doctrine, they shun them. If they try to leave the church, they shun them. Paul says, don't even eat with such a person. That's Scientology doctrine. That's shunning. And all the Christians hate Scientology. That's one of the reasons why they hate Scientology, because they shun people. Well, guess what? Your Apostle Paul, Christian, said to do the very same thing. The same thing that David Miscavige tells Scientologists to do, you do, or were told to do by Paul. The very same thing that you say makes Scientology a cult, you do it. Does that make you a cult? T.L. Clark says they have re-education camps. Guess what, T.L. Clark? So does the Christian church. So does the Christian church. Delaney Jackson correctly points out that Jehovah's Witnesses do it too. And I'm not saying that it's right that the Scientologists do it. I'm not saying it's right that the Jehovah's Witnesses do it, but I do take great pleasure in pointing out the hypocrisy within the Christian church when they want to tell other people how bad they are and how come they're a cult because they do things that the founder of their church told them to do. And guess what? You Christians are even worse. Let me show you why. Remember the New Testament, when it's written in its chronological order, this was written right after James was written. The book of James was written. And the book of James was written, as I've shown you before, to show that Paul was teaching a doctrine that the apostles of the Christ did not teach, and that there was two camps teaching two different doctrines, the doctrine of the Christ and his apostles, and the doctrine of Paul. And ladies and gentlemen, when Paul says, withdraw yourselves from every brother that walks disorderly and not after the tradition which he received of us, Paul is telling you not to follow the apostles of the Christ. Paul is telling you not to follow the original apostles of the Christ that spent 3.5 some odd years walking, talking, living, breathing with the manifest in the flesh Elohim himself, because they weren't following the tradition which Paul preached. They were following the tradition that the Christ gave them. And when Paul says, withdraw yourselves from people that are disorderly, withdraw yourselves from people that don't follow the traditions I've given you, he was talking about the apostles themselves and the people that follow the apostles. And when he says, any man that does not obey our word, the apostles and those that follow the apostles, note that person, have no company with him, that he might be ashamed. Paul was talking about the apostles of the Christ and the people that followed the apostles of the Christ. This is why it's so important to read the New Testament in its correct chronological order, because not only did Paul say to shun people, to cut people off, but Paul said those apostles are preaching something different and they are wrong. I am right, and you should not be following them. How about that? Do you like apples? Oh, that sounds delicious. How about them apples? Paul taught Christians to do the same thing that Scientologists do. Did Paul start Scientology? I don't know. You make that decision. And Paul told Christians not to follow the apostles of the Christ and those that adhered to what they were teaching. All this just by reading the New Testament in its correct chronological order. Personally, I don't care which one you choose. If you choose to follow Paul, if you think Paul had a fuller revelation than the apostles, if you think Paul had a greater truth than the apostles, knock yourself out. If you think that Christ and his apostles had a greater revelation than Paul, knock yourself out and I'll be with you. And I want you to know there's a difference. I want you to know there's a teaching of the Christ and there's a teaching of Paul, and give you the opportunity to review which one you want to be a part of. As I go to the chat room real quick, Shane's hoping his mom and stepdad will let him go this weekend to the wagon wheel. Yeah, I don't know what's up with this Amanda person, but I'm about done. Yeah, I agree with you on Pulse Nightclub. Oh, interesting. Tanhawk Group says that Paul, Muhammad, and Joseph Smith all have in common a strange meeting with an extraterrestrial. That's really good, Tanhawk. Really good. Really good. Really good. All right, ladies and gentlemen. That's some new stuff to put in your peace pipe and smoke. I hope you don't really have a pipe. I hope you don't smoke, but I'm speaking rhetorically. I may be back tonight for some more broadcast excellence, although I do have to get ready to go to the Wagon Wheel Flea Market in the morning, and we'll be there by 7:30 getting set up. Don't come that early, but we'll be there and ready to rock and roll by 8:30. Ready for business, and cousin, I'm pretty sure business is going to be a booming. I may come back tonight. I may not, but this has been Through the New Testament, through the Diamond New Testament, the only presentation of the New Testament in its correct chronological order. I believe this was show number 21, and we're just getting started. Number 21 in this series. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. You are the Gospel Truth Army. I salute you, and I encourage you to guide your own spirit.